All right, happy expiration, everyone. It is September. With me, as most times, and back to virtual is Thomas. Thomas, how are you?
I'm all right. Had a pretty chaotic last few weeks, but I'm doing okay.
All right, and with us this month, visiting a longtime reader, Mr. Tim Connolly. Tim, how are you?
Good, good. How are you? We're approaching the end of Q3, so I'm a little tired, but we're doing good.
All right, why don't you tell everybody a little about yourself? What do you do? What you?
So I ultimately got my start at KPMG. Was there for about 5 years. Internal audit. Moved into this SaaS space, mergers and acquisitions, and I'm currently a group controller with Middleby Corporate, which is a large-scale commercial kitchen manufacturer in North Carolina.
Impressive. That's probably the best resume I think we've ever had on here, or at least the best resume someone will admit to. What and how'd you get into the like that angle of things? Like I guess like what got you into say accounting over anything else in the world?
So when I graduated high school, it was 2008. Um, you know, I have people, family members who wanted me to jump right into finance. Ultimately, that was not a good time to really look down, that barrel of that gun. So ultimately, I chose something that I knew I could pivot into finance towards the middle or end of my career. I thought having a accounting background and something very, very stable would ultimately set the basis and the tone for my career. And ultimately, I was able to do so. I was offered a couple of different opportunities with, financial planning and analytics. A couple of really nice CFOs took a chance on me and my accounting skill set, and really, I was able to play both sides of the ball at the end.
Cool. Look at that. It feels like we're doing an interview for a job. Uh have you done like a Zoom interview for a job? Those are like
I
I did one
have
of those
I
back in 23.
kind of a bit of that is an organization we ultimately flipped to a private equity firm. So once I moved to North Carolina, I ultimately had to do everything by Zoom. So a lot of experience there.
Big remote work proponents in this podcast too. You sit there, you probably cross the screen, I guess you could say, with somebody who looks like Thomas right now. That's how Thomas looks like he's really like enjoying himself tonight. Thomas, you had a little bit of trouble
Yeah,
getting the kids to bed.
yeah. I mean, everybody's just pretty tired, and it's been a rough couple of weeks. I got into a car accident 3 weeks ago, and that's been pretty rough.
Oh, did you
So
really? I
yeah,
actually didn't know that. We're like we this is one of the only ways we communicate, he and I.
yeah,
To be
yeah.
perfectly
So
honest.
yeah, yeah,
My
yeah.
brother got into
So
a car crash 3 weeks ago. No idea.
yeah. Well, it's not something I'm broadcasting, but now I guess now I am.
Now you
But
actually
yeah,
are broadcasting.
I
Yeah.
am broadcasting. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's been a challenging 3 weeks. So it's fun. But yeah, so I'm perking up a little bit. This is the highlight of my week. So,
Wow. Now
but yeah, a little trouble getting the kids
I
to
almost feel
bed.
sorry
It's
for
one of
him.
those things. It's Friday night. It's just how it goes.
It is Friday night. Do you guys do anything fun Friday nights with like the kids normally? Am I encroaching on any of your Friday night activities with the kids or anything?
I mean, not here. Usually, my little one's in bed pretty early. She's a 7 to 7 girl, so you know, usually it's just me and on the couch with the wife watching a movie until she falls asleep, and then I creep upstairs to play Xbox a little bit on Friday
Nice.
night.
Oh,
Riveting, I know.
oh,
Yeah,
you
we
know
have some
what?
wild
A
and
lot of
crazy
people
guys.
wish they had that.
Yeah, right.
The 7 to 7 thing is funny. My kids have figured out for themselves that they are night owls relative to their peers. So what I mean by that is my older one who has now her little friends and whatnot in like third grade, they were comparing bedtimes and some of them go to bed like 8, 8:15. My kids go to bed at like 10:30. Like it's not even close. It's not like, oh, I get an extra 15 minutes. It's just an entirely different ballpark of a range for bedtime. Both my kids, they're just night owls. They just don't want to go to bed. And it's like, cool, fine. Sit in your room, do whatever you want, but don't bother me. After 10
I
o'clock,
don't
it's like, don't bother me.
I don't care what you do when you're in there, just be in there.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy. but they themselves can't figure out like how do other kids go to bed that early? It's dawning on them that they're the weirdos, which is interesting to watch. We
It's pretty
went
funny.
to we got back last month from our family vacation, Thomas and I, and
Yep.
we really got to see up close and personal how the similarities and differences are with our parenting styles as like brothers, which I
Yeah.
think was entertaining. And no complaints, no problems. I think everybody was fine with it. I mean, Thomas,
It
were
was
you surprised by anything that my girls do or consider normal?
I wouldn't say surprised. I think what was most surprising to me was just the interaction between our kids. Just how that was all going to play out. That was the thing that I was going to be interested to see how that played out, like how my kids interacted with your girls, and just yeah, it was good. It was good. I mean, they seemed like they had a good time. So yeah, it worked out pretty well. Everybody was overall pretty good. I mean, had some ups and downs here and there, but nothing catastrophic. It turns out everybody ended up getting sick when we went home. So we got all those New Jersey germs. We're not used to those. So
Okay,
so so
we
that
all got sick too. Yeah, it was rough.
yeah, it's just all those germs from different areas. It's just yeah. So but yeah, my youngest was having a rough time though. She was having a really rough time on that vacation. She was screaming all night, and I felt bad, but felt bad for everybody else in
We
the
heard
house.
him. Yeah.
Do you
Oh, we
guys
Yeah.
felt bad too.
realize?
Yeah.
Do you guys realize? So my siblings have my siblings have boys and I have all girls,
Hmm.
right? Do you guys notice any difference between, parenting the boys and the girls in that aspect with your parenting styles? Like I think my sister and I have the same parenting style, when it comes to her having a boy and me having a girl. And then, my other sibling, my other sister, she has a completely different parenting style, parenting two boys. So, do you guys really realize that? I mean, it's probably got to be different. I don't, Tom, I don't know if you have boys or girls, but it's my girls are a little bit more tomboyish, etc. So I know that parenting style is a little, I'm not going to say rough, but it's a little more, intense with comfort, I'll say.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I have two kids, and so I I don't know much about parenting little boys, obviously, but I will say that having two little girls, I'm surprised at some of the things that have happened, or things in my life that I wasn't expecting. Just things you got to figure out. Things dealing with little girls is way different than dealing with little boys. It's just
Yeah.
it's
I
there's
I've
a lot I had to learn. It's a steep learning curve for me.
it's true. We were all boys growing up too. Like it was just the three of us so we didn't have sisters.
Yeah.
So for then us to then transition to being girl dads was like I remember when I found out I was going to have a girl for my first child. I told over the phone just it's a girl. I was at work and I was just like like I needed a day to like process
Yeah,
how I'm gonna like be dealing with that for the upcoming 18 years. But now I have the boy. I have both genders.
Yeah.
the boy,
The boy. I just call him the boy because he's it's
the
just
boy.
where's the
Yeah,
boy?
Yeah.
first name,
Um,
middle name.
Let the boy watch. It's
Yeah,
from Eastbound and Down. Anyway, what I'm finding is that I treat him very different. I'm much more mellow and calm and know he's much more like Teflon. Like he can kind of like jump on the couch and stuff. And he's not gonna like I don't want him to, but he's not gonna die. You know, like but that doesn't come so much from the gender difference. That comes more of now he's like my third. So I'm more
Yeah.
experienced at it. Like he's just able to bounce around and do his thing as a little baby. It has nothing to do with him being a boy. It's just that it's like I know what like tenacity and what 18-month-old kids do now. So it's just like whatever. I'm not nearly as like hands-on or careful. When they get
I
older, I
feel like
think it'll kick in more. Like I can tell
well, that's what
you
I'm
that
saying.
like yeah, they get like dealing with a girl as they're starting to turn into tweens, it's becoming like I don't know what the hell she's talking about. Go ask your mother. Like I don't
Yeah,
know, and I don't know what to do. I don't know what the right answer is for this.
I don't know
I don't
why
know.
I'm being yelled at, but I'll just
Yeah, yeah. It's just like okay. Just I don't know what the answer. I don't know what the right answer is because you run the risk of telling her the wrong thing and then getting yelled at by like your wife or another like your could be like your mother or your mother-in-law. Like somebody if you tell them the wrong information, you're gonna have a problem on your hands. So you got to tread carefully, I think, on that.
I agree.
So one of the things that you might have noticed I've been persnickety about is the Federal Reserve firings. I am not a fan of the whole problem, and I wrote two in a row this week or this month on it. What's interesting is that we are filming this before the interest rate decision comes out with all of the with and it looks like Lisa Cook is going to be able to vote this time in it. But this isn't going to actually publish until after the rate decision comes out. So I thought this would be an interesting opportunity to get a really quick, like, what do we think is going to happen? And we're going to know the real answer and look like either really smart people or idiots. So I kind of wanted to play that game. And if you guys don't have a guess, that's fine. I just want to be on record with mine. So first of all, you know what I'm talking about with Lisa Cook?
Yep. Yes.
Thomas, do you know?
Vaguely. I have to catch up on it, but
Okay.
I think I have a
So,
general idea.
bottom line is the Trump administration wants monetary policy to go a very specific way, and to do that, they need the Federal Reserve to go along with it. In order to do that, it's helpful if you pack the voters with people who are, in your on your side. So he's going to put one person on because there was a vacancy, and then they accused this other one of mortgage fraud to try to get her ousted so he could put somebody else in. So he's trying to basically pack the Federal Reserve the way like you learn in history how FDR would have packed the courts back in like 33 or whatever. Like, I'm talking about like FDR would try to like he packed the Supreme Court with a bunch of people that he liked. Anyway, they're going to announce what their interest rate policy is going to be this upcoming week. So when this publishes, it'll be after the fact. And so depending on which way that whole drama went legally, it might have determined what like the Federal Reserve is actually going to do. So anyway, here's long story turned short. I want to make my prediction now for what I think is going to be said next week, and then on Friday we all get to see if I was right or not. So what I think is going to happen is actually the Federal Reserve is going to cut by 50 basis points, which is going to be extreme. And I think that the language will admit a substantial weakening of economic conditions. Now, normally the cut would make equity markets really shoot up. I think the acknowledgement that the economy is slowing is actually going to cause a 5 to 8% dip in the equity markets afterwards because they're like, shit, we're going to be in a recession. And that's actually what happened in last year when they did something similar. So there's precedent for it. Lastly, I think that uh, the bond markets are going to recover very quickly from it. And when I say recover, I mean like yields will spike and then they'll probably slingshot back down. So this is coming out. We're recording this on the 12th. The decision is going to be on I think was it the 15th, and then this will come out on expiration Friday, and we'll know if I was right or not. So that was my big soapbox spiel on that. I wanted to make sure we got it in.
I think 50 is too much. I think they're going to go 25.
Do you? Are you just
Yeah.
saying that to be a dick, or do you have a rationale behind it?
No, I just don't think that there's I when when they were hiking interest rates at COVID, they were going, 75, 75, 75, and then they tapered it off to like 50 and then 25. That was pretty extreme. And then I think they're less willing to cut than I think you think they are. I think they're going to cut it at 25 and just see what they're going to do, and then wait for the next interest rate to see how things shake out. I don't think they're going to drastically cut 50 basis points. I just don't think. I just think that's too much. That's just a gut feeling. I don't
I,
have
I,
anything else to say other than that.
I think they're going to cut by 50, and I think it's going to be because the jobs revisions that came out showed that like basically there were a million fewer jobs than they had been accounting for, and that came in like that was the big revision downward. Like they now have real cause to say like things have been slowing down for a while. We should have been doing 25 and 25, and so now we're just going to get back on it because they've also been shown willing to play catch up when they said interest rates were or inflation was transitory for a while, and then they said, no, wait, it's not. That's when all of that happened with those 75 points. So they're willing to play catch
Hmm.
up.
What's the phrase being thrown around right now? 3% is the new 2% in terms of
That's for the
inflation.
inflation target.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's that city was at 2.9% right now. Michael, I agree with you 100%. I think they're going to be very aggressive. I think it's going to be half a basis point. I mean, you
Half a
look at the
point.
market, the
50
market's
basis points, half a point.
yeah,
Yeah,
50 basis points. The market's already pricing it in,
they
right?
are.
We're already see it happening. You think about, I mean, I come from manufacturing. We saw the beginning of this a year ago. We are the first market, we are the first segment in the United States to see it. We've seen it so much that our customer has turned from a backlog and stocking customer to a just-in-time inventory customer, right? It is affecting the United States that greatly. And our output and some of our middle class, workers and jobs. So I think they're going to be very aggressive to start, and then they're going to ultimately correct and be a little less aggressive as we move into the end of the year.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to hear from the like boots on the ground, so to speak. So like what like what would you say like and I don't want to get like into too much specifics with it, but like is your order volume like in where you are because is it like fairly industrial manufacturing what you're considered or is it more I guess commercial?
No, I mean, our and if you think about it, it's kind of a ripple effect, right? We work directly with restaurants, right?
Mm,
Restaurants and dealers and things like that. And what drives restaurants to buy new equipment? What drives restaurants to buy and open, multiple restaurants, franchises, all that stuff? It's
because
the
the
American
rest their
dollar,
uncles told them to.
right? But you
Dad
know
jokes.
if you have dollars in your pocket to take your family out for a meal, you're ultimately gonna ultimately drive that market.
Yeah.
That ultimately means to me that the average American family, the average American person doesn't have dollars and cents to go out to eat,
Mm,
right? Therefore, it's not driving people to open new restaurants. People are not buying new capital equipment. People are repairing their capital equipment.
okay.
Dollars and cents are more expensive, but we don't see a backlog anymore. We see my oven broke down yesterday. In order to keep my business going, I need one back in here today. Not, hey, let me order 5 to 10 to open up 10 new McDonald's or 10 Carrabba's that are going to be expanding, right? It's legitimately all of these organizations with maybe other than a few like a Jersey Mike's that just got an investment from Blackstone, they're not expanding, and there's a reason for that.
Mhm.
So we definitely do see that in the manufacturing space that as these rates release a little bit and the grip on money gets a little looser, we should be able to see that relief as well.
That makes sense. I mean, that's different. I like to get different opinions from different angles of stuff because eventually, like, from if you're a trader on a desk somewhere, let's say you're a commercial paper trader on an institutional desk, whatever. They're really only looking at like economic statistics. Like they should be talking to people on the ground. Oh, Martin. I mean, they're just not. Like unless you're not in like the way that they need to be. So they're just looking at like aggregate statistics as like your backlog, example. That's something that they're gonna care about
Right.
because they're all worried about short-term money. That's what do I want to say? I've been hearing a big critique lately about the Fed not having up-to-date data on what they're doing because they're not paying attention to that short-term stuff and the boots on the ground stuff
Right.
as much. And I see the argument for why they're critiquing the Fed on that. That like what you're explaining, you probably would have been seeing much earlier than the Fed's about to acknowledge. That's my
Correct.
round robin
I mean,
point there. Like you've been seeing what they're about to acknowledge for months and months now. So why are you smarter than the Fed? Basically, that's the
I
critique.
mean, it's textbook economics, right? You really don't. I mean, we're going to use the R word here, right? You don't really know you're in a
Trump's
recession
in
until
office. We
about
can use the R word now.
oh, okay. 12 to 18 months after it begins, right? It's not widely known until 12 to 18 months after it begins. So,
Yeah,
we are in um, that, we're in that what I can feel is the trough right now. That downward move is complete. We're in the trough and we're just looking to claw our way out right now, or
that's
begin
oddly
to.
optimistic. It's like as soon as you realize you have a problem, the worst of it's already over. It's like, oh, that's not so bad.
I mean, I think the information that we have and the speed that we're able to kind of really consolidate everything allows us to move out a little quicker. It's not the housing bubble yet, but we learn from our mistakes and we're learning a lot quicker.
Yeah, yeah. So we're gonna find out what happens. We're recording this on the 12th. They're gonna announce on Wednesday, and then this comes out that Friday for expiration. So we're gonna see how right or wrong I was. I'm actually very excited to be on record so publicly. Um, one of the other things that was interesting though, and you mentioned backlog, your lack of backlog. Oracle was the big moneymaker this week because like if their stock popped 40% overnight after missing earnings like clearly, but the whole reason was because their notes pointed out that their backlog
Yes.
is like a total of 500 billion in forward-looking like memorandums of intent and like actual stated contracts, all from like AI. So
Yeah.
now we're seeing like that picks and shovels strategy of like Oracle's gonna clean up on that. Like even if ChatGPT amounts to a hill of beans, Oracle's gonna clean up on all of this now.
Yeah. I mean, so the other piece with Oracle is so, I come from a mergers and acquisition environment as well. We had to onboard probably 25 acquisitions a year in the role I was in. We worked in NetSuite, right?
Okay.
So actually being able to do an implementation from Oracle and getting, talent in the door and consultants to be able to help us and do these you know these ERP implementations, they couldn't do it because backlog. They don't have the talent to be able to do that, and I think their ERP is business and their cloud suite business is set to jump like 1.6% or something like that. And if you think about their portfolio, that's like almost $2 billion.
Sure.
So, when you think about even something like that, and they have an even bigger backlog problem, it really is mind blowing.
Yeah. Yeah. Thomas and I talk all the time about like the data center builds, and that's kind of like the whole thing there. That Oracle, the what seems to I looked into it a little bit, like I read the headlines and then I like dived in just a tad to get the sense of it. Because like Oracle feels like such an old world player, and I like to use Oracle and Cisco as examples of the ramifications of the original dot-com bust, right? Like they like the run up and all the infrastructure build outs and then the bust in like 01, 02, but that left all this cheap then infrastructure for Web 2.0 back in like the mid 2000s. So I think overall we're probably seeing that again. It's just funny that Oracle is now like almost the winner. They're now like the structural winner in this. What I've heard about why Oracle, other than say AWS or Azure, data center platforms, Microsoft owns Azure. They have their own AI. AWS, Amazon, they're pitching their own AI. Oracle is still only in the infrastructure business, so they're being thought of as a neutral player.
Yeah.
They're not worried that like OpenAI is okay hosting on Oracle because they are not concerned about stuff leaking to like Microsoft or to Amazon. So that seems to be like their ace in the hole. The fact that they chose not to do AI is ironically what's now making them like hundreds of billions of dollars. So, Thomas, thoughts?
Um, I don't have much thinking going on right now.
You
I mean,
abstain?
you wrote the PA data center stuff. So what's up?
You abstain
So,
courteously?
well, I would say I'm staying. I'm still thinking about everything. I'm digesting what you guys are talking about in terms of the rate cut and things like that. I think, I think. in general, I think Tim, I don't think it's going to be cut by 50, but I think what Tim was bringing up in terms of the backlog and all that other stuff, um, that's pretty important. And then the other thing that you brought up with the data centers at the Oracle, I mean, in PA, they just had in July, they had a big summit where they invested like $90 billion in Pennsylvania for data centers, AI stuff. So that's like the big thing that's going on right now. So if all of that comes together, that has the makings of a pretty big economic construction boom, which would be good across the board, at least for, you know, well, infrastructure upgrades, number one, would be pretty good across, so you're going to have electrical upgrades, grid upgrades, roadway upgrades, things like that. Because what's going to end up happening is it's going to go a couple different ways, I think, with the data centers. The stuff that's going on with the data centers is those townships are going to get blindsided by developers, and they're going to either, if they're ready for it, then they're going to be able to get a lot of stuff paid for by the developers. And if they're not ready for it, they're just going to jam it down their throats and get what they need to get. So it'll be interesting to see from a local standpoint how that all plays out. So yeah, it'll be something. But yeah,
I mean, this is
I don't
America.
have much to talk about.
Never in the history of corporate America has the little guy lost. So we'll be fine.
Right.
No, I hear what you're saying though. That's gonna be a thing. The like you always use, so I mean we're talking about like AI and like what's AI. That's generally what we're talking about. One of the other fun comparisons I just heard about this is actually Bitcoin, but they said right now Bitcoin is about the same market cap as NVIDIA. They're like about the
Yes.
same. And so the question is sort of like, which would you rather have for 10 years? You know, like you're holding one or the other for the next 10 years, which would you rather hold, NVIDIA or Bitcoin? Like that was an interesting little like thought exercise that I saw just floating around the internet this week. And I actually this was the first time I ever thought like really about like like is Bitcoin worth being in for the next 10 years? Like, that was like, I don't really, like, I'm not a crypto person. I don't really like to get into it. And I know this, that I don't need to hear the crypto positive arguments, but this is what it made me stop and say, like, oh shit, like, is it worth that? Like, how much is it worth to have maybe like, 2% of your like investable, like just like a little bit of crypto exposure? Like, this is the first time I've really been thinking about that as like, shit, should that just be something I get? Like, I don't know.
What's more well diversified, NVIDIA or crypto?
Well, that's the part of the question is like when you like is the difference between just Bitcoin or like a diverse like you're gonna have like Ethereum or Solana
Stable
and
coins,
and
correct.
Tether and
Yes.
like whether you're gonna do like a basket of crypto like what you get into like all the portfolio management of it. But it was an interesting thought. Like I kind of think the answer is Bitcoin, which is weird of me to say, but like I kind of think if I had to choose between like if you just index them both to zero today 10 years from now, I actually do think Bitcoin will be worth a lot more than NVIDIA.
I think NVIDIA is the
You think
stronger
NVIDIA
hold.
is? I mean,
Is
you're free to disagree with me. I'm just like shooting.
No, I think NVIDIA is the stronger hold. Um, you talk about investing in companies or organizations that usually have like one pathway, right? You invest in Ford, right? They just make cars. You invest in Tesla, they just make cars, right? When somebody thinks about investing in a Ford or a Tesla, I think about investing in US Steel. I think about investing in lithium mining companies. I think about microchips, things that are actually being built on multiple platforms, not just Ford or Chevy or any of these organizations. NVIDIA is going to be in everything. And until, a bigger fish comes along, maybe it's 10 years from now, maybe it's quantum computing, maybe it's a whole bunch of other things, right? I think NVIDIA for 10 years is a strong hold, and I think it's a strong buy even now. You saw the split last year, and it's just been growing and growing and growing. I think every organization that requires their chips and their technology to move forward, it's going to be in everything. So that's the way I think about it. Well, going into my 30s and well diversifying my portfolio a little more and not being as aggressive. But that's the way I go. Talk to me 10 years ago, crypto, 100%. Take out what, like you said, index everything to zero. take out everything I know now, I would be all in on crypto, right?
And
But,
I'm pretty sure that is the answer, right? Like Bitcoin has gone up like compared to 2015 Bitcoin prices. Bitcoin like
and I
was the
mean,
winner over the S&P, right? I have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure that's the answer.
it's just an unknown though, right? Like you know what
Well, it's
NVIDIA
definitely
needs
a
to
known. We can
do.
see for the last 10 years we get the answer. But yo, no, go on. I'm not gonna.
But what drives Bitcoin, what drives crypto down next week, right? You don't know what can drive Bitcoin down next week. You know what drives NVIDIA down next week. An announcement can drive NVIDIA down next week, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
have
no,
some basis on movement.
I get you. I totally get you. Because like if you'd asked me a month ago the same question, I'd have said Nvidia myself. Like I'd have been like, no, Nvidia, like I don't like crypto. I don't think they're strong play. But like I was it struck me that they're the same market cap right now. And like I didn't really necessarily know that until this week that the market cap of Bitcoin is the same as market cap of Nvidia. And I was thinking like is Nvidia gonna double? Because Bitcoin could double.
I
Like
I think
100,000 to 200,000, Bitcoin could double, especially with all the ETF regulatory stuff that's opening. But like, is Nvidia gonna double? Like, maybe.
I think NVIDIA's I'm gonna you can mark my words on this. I think at this point in time next year, NVIDIA is about sitting at about 325. I'll put it out
I don't
there.
know. I don't know what it is off the top of my head right now. Because
It's
the
I my last look it was
177.
177.
Yep.
177.
So
Okay.
so you
We
brought
rarely talk this explicitly about stuff, but I'm just kind of in a predictions market. It must be because
No,
of NFL, like like all the
maybe. Yeah.
like I've just been a little
yeah.
bit in my in prediction markets mode this month, which is rare of me.
So you brought up what the prices were in 2015, right? So Bitcoin roughly was $400 in 2015, say at the end of 2015. Okay. And now it's at 115,000. So that's about a 287 uh increase percent or 287 times increase, right? NVIDIA split adjusted was 80 cents and now it's at 177. So that's a 221%
Oh,
times increase. So Bitcoin over the last 10 years outperformed NVIDIA in that investment. So that's interesting. So, but I
but
think I think I would have to lean towards Timmy's thing on NVIDIA. I think you hit the nail on the head is that everything is going to get more intertwined with what NVIDIA is doing, and Bitcoin could stall. There's really no the only thing that it really has going for it is just a stable store of value, whereas NVIDIA might have multiple things going for it and might have an accelerated growth path. And now, I mean, same could be for Bitcoin and crypto, but I think the steam on crypto is running a little low, and I think if the people that are in it, I don't really think you're going to get an influx of new people trying to buy it. I think there's like a bunch of set stable steady buyers. I think with Nvidia, you might end up getting like an influx of new money trying to push that price up at some point with some sort of new announcement or new tech or new something that they do. So over the next 10 years, I'm sure that I'm not sure, but I would put my money on Nvidia over Bitcoin. I'm sure they're both fine investments, but you know,
I mean like I don't know. I mean, well, that's I'm not gonna put a lot of money where my mouth is on either
well,
of them.
and 120 trader dads from now, we'll go back, we'll pull the clip, and we'll see who was right.
You joke, but we could totally I it'll exist.
Mark it on the
It'll
calendar. We'll,
just
we'll have
be
Tim back
there,
on
just
it. We'll
sitting
make
on the
our predictions.
YouTube
It's
channel. We
fun.
could totally go back and look. Set your calendar to look in
Yeah,
10 years. 'Cause,
yeah, yeah.
I mean maybe not. I think if I had to pick one or the other, I would go with Bitcoin. I think like and that's surprising out of my mouth. But I was just once I knew that their market caps were the same, which I'd never really thought about, and started sizing them up, I was like, Bitcoin's probably do better over that horizon, I think. I think Nvidia will crash beforehand. Um,
Hmm.
but anyway, we'll see. We'll see. Never know. Never know. So I was dealing with all the back to school stuff coming back for like Thomas was saying he's had a tough week. I mean, everybody had their back to school weeks and whatnot. We went back to our normal getting up early routine and whatnot.
Yeah.
And we we were still trying to figure it out. How's everybody else doing out there in the trenches?
Oh man, it's been an adjustment. It has been challenging. I mean, this is the first year that we have one full time in school, and that's been it's been a lot.
Kindergarten now.
Yeah,
Yeah, like for regular school full time. Yeah.
yeah, 5 days a week. Yeah, it's been an adjustment for everybody in our family. And then um, she's just she crashes. Like, it's a long week. So by the end of the week, she is done. She is so tired. She's so, it's a lot. It's a lot to do. And then, that and, me and my wife both work. So, 3 days a week, she's, at school at like 7:30, and we don't pick her up till like 5. Like, it's a long day, so that's a lot. And then, new kids, new environment, new routines, new all that stuff is a new thing. And then my younger one, she started in a new class in her daycare, so that's a whole new experience with new kids and things. And so she's learning all new fun things that we have to adjust to. She likes to blow raspberries. That's a new fun thing that we're all going to get sick from, because she's just literally spraying all of her germs all over the house, and just, so that's fun. But it's fine. It's just the stage that we're in right now. So, but yeah, it's been back to school has been fun. And
I'll
then to
bet.
top it all off,
Yeah.
getting into a car accident was fun. So
And
that was fun.
Tim, how old's yours? Still preschool.
Yeah, well, so, my wife and I, we hit the reset button. So, we have a 2-year-old, and then I have my 13-year-old.
True.
So, and when I tell you, I wasn't prepared to drop the money I dropped in back to school shopping, kids in that age, especially
Mm.
younger. My daughter is fairly tall. So, she's in juniors now, and like going from, 2 years ago and be like, it's 120, $150. She's gonna, she'll grow out of it. Well, she's growing out of it at a bigger rate. Now I'm an American Eagle and all this stuff. And it's a different world, right? I get the attitude when she comes home, and it's different. And but the biggest bane has been my drive to work.
Mm.
I get stuck behind the buses. I have to take a different route. I know that sounds terrible to say that, but
No, no, I
it's
get it though,
it's
because you go like 2, 3 months without it, and then that first, you're just like, suddenly you
and
lose 15 minutes in the morning or whatever it
yeah,
is extra. I know exactly
and
what
we
you're talking
start and we start early, right? We start earlier in different areas. So,
about.
you know, when it's July and you're seeing back to school in the stores, you're like, oh, and you're just waiting for it and waiting for it until it hits you over the head. Um, but my daughter coming out of COVID, her school was shut down for quite some time, so she was homeschooled up until about 2 years ago. So going into middle school was a complete 360.
Oh yeah.
When she was in elementary school, she hated going to school. Then COVID happened and she couldn't go to school. And now she's like, let's go, get in the car. I got to get to class. I got to get to school. It's the social aspect. She's a social butterfly.
Yeah.
So, it's a lot different. But it's getting up and completely rearranging, what you do, as parents in the morning, and especially having a 2-year-old who doesn't want to get in the car and is kicking and screaming and is making the oldest one late. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. We have our routine down. Luckily, we don't we're attending the same schools this
Yeah.
year that we were attending last year, so we know like the routine that we need to be in. It's just a matter of getting everyone there sleep-wise, because right now none of them want to get up in the morning still because they're up much earlier. They haven't
Yeah.
like their internal clocks haven't adjusted, and they bitch and moan all morning, and getting them out the door. It's the same bullshit you got to deal with most mornings, but right now it feels extra like ornery. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you should come home, you get the homework and like legit homework now. It's like, sit their ass down and do it, and all that good stuff.
Bobby has two apples. He gives Sally one. How many apples does he have left?
Yeah, yeah, we're that kind of stuff for sure. We they focus on a lot of reading. Like we always got to like make sure that they oh read for 20 minutes at home and here's optional worksheets. You know, yeah, we'll get right on those and they get thrown away. Like who does the Have you ever met a parent who actually gets their kid to do the optional homework worksheet? Like, if anyone who's listening, if you get your kid to do an optional homework worksheet, please send a picture to us or something of them actually doing it. Like, I've never ever tried because that means I got to sit there and make sure they do it. It's optional.
Right.
I
What
feel
are we doing
like
here?
I feel like the optional worksheet is not parent driven, it's going to be kid driven, right? That kid's going to be the overachiever and want to do it and be like, "Oh yeah, I want to do the extra worksheet. I want to do that." And that's usually like what, the top 1% of the class. So, when I was a kid, I know I had a couple of those in my classroom.
Yeah, I was never one to do more work than necessary. I'm not that guy. Like that feels like a
So,
waste of time. I don't know. I was in college when I was in college. A guy I was buddies with. He was like 2 years older than me, and he was going to graduate, and he had the same major as I at the time. So I was like, okay, I'm like a sophomore. He's a senior. I can kind of see how this guy's doing stuff, whatever else. He commented that he took a lot of extra class. He changed his majors. He did a bunch of stuff. So he's going to graduate. He had 147 credits, which is a lot of credits for college to get your
yeah.
bachelor's. Like totally at 147 credits. You usually need like maybe like 124, 125 to graduate with your
Yeah.
undergrad. So somebody said to him, we're like just hanging out, and he's like, why don't you take one more 3 credit class and then you can graduate with 150 credits. Nice round number. And the guy looked at him like he had three heads, and he's like, why? Why the fuck would I take an extra class just to get 150? Do I win some sort of prize when I hit 150 credits? Like, what happens? Like, I could be doing literally anything else. Like, why would I do that? And they had no real answer for him. And I always remember that as a lesson in life, which really is like attributes me to being not like the overachiever at all. So anyway, yeah, like I'm not like an overachiever like that at all. Never have been with that. And since I heard that story, and I think about this story probably once a month. Somebody asked me to do a little extra at work and be like, why? Do I get some sort of prize? Like, no, I'm not gonna, no. But that's just me. So we
Yeah.
are in the fall, we're in September, and my kids are doing back to school, and I always like to think about the education part of this stuff because it's like Margaret's education, dad life, because I'm a stickler with the education aspect of it always. The kids in her grade, my oldest, I should say, they jumped from getting like S for satisfactory or whatever the fuck to getting actual A, B, C, D. And apparently that's like a big effing deal for all of them because now they can really start to judge themselves and compare themselves against each other, which is, I guess, something that we
Yeah.
now know starts at third grade. So that's a new
That's good to
thing that
know.
I'm going to be dealing with when the report cards come next month. They all get to see how they do compare to each other.
Now the younger ones that are so the youngest that's not in that grade, is there some sort of chart that you can say, okay, you got an S, so this is a B plus. Is
Hmm.
there some sort of chart that now, because they're going to be looking for that?
No, I
How do
think
I
they just
compare to my other daughter?
I think they just, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that
So and so got an S and I got an A, and
they do. They are definitely they will definitely like compare like she got more than I in the cup. Yeah, we get that all the time.
yeah,
You're lucky your girls are far enough apart where hopefully your 13-year-old doesn't care that your 2-year-old got a hair more juice in her cup, but you never
yeah.
know. You know,
I can't wait till my 13-year-old's driving my 2-year-old around, you
that'll
know.
be nice.
Mm,
That'll be a good
Yeah.
plus. Yeah.
that's scary.
Scary, right? Yeah, it is scary. It's a
Yeah,
good and a
that'll
bad
be
thing, right?
yeah,
So,
that'll be something. I'm so one of the things that we were talking about the other day was we're new to the whole school system type thing, and we were talking about two different things. One, we were going back to school shopping, and they didn't have pencils or paper or anything on their school supply list, and we were like, oh man, what are we getting ourselves into here? Because like everything is going to be digital, and that's going to be a thing. Like it's a long cry from
It
when
is
we were
though.
in in school, So that was a thing. It was like, oh man, what are we getting ourselves into on that one? But then the other thing too is that so she started having classes and stuff. So we went to like a back to school night or whatever, and they gave us like the curriculum of what they're like doing, and so like they have like math class. So then we were talking about like what are kindergartners learning in math class, and then she came home the other day and she said I had a math test today, and we're like, what is that? And so and so we're like
You're an
then we're talking about
engineer.
like the
You know
Common
what math
Core.
is.
Well, right. Well, yeah. Well, I know. I thought I did, but the questions were like it's all about like I guess spatial awareness and like measurement and stuff. I guess that is what they're trying to get into. So like it was like which one is taller, like circle the one that's tall, like things like that, so that they're getting some sort of frame of reference. Like, okay, I guess technically that is the basis of like math, like because if something is taller, then one is longer than the other, and then you can measure which one is taller and how much. Like you can start to get the building blocks of that. But I was kind of surprised to like say one, they had a math test, and then two, what the math test actually encountered, and then we were talking about, oh man. So Tim, I don't know if you've dealt with this with your older one, but like, and maybe you have with your older one, like, but like the Common Core math, is that something that you guys have encountered, and that's something that like I don't know how that's going to go and how that's going to play out, and even like what that would entail. So, because my wife
I,
was talking to some of her coworkers and who have older kids, and they were saying like, yeah, you can teach them how to do it the way you learned, but they're not going to get credit for it, like on like tests or whatever. And then that's like a whole thing. So,
I
So I
mean,
will.
my kid's only in third grade. I've noticed that some of the tactics are maybe a hair different than what I learned. But I'll be perfectly honest, I
mm,
chalk that up to thinking that I just learned it the stupid way because like
mm,
we didn't really grow up going through a great math program. So as long as it's not like ludicrous, I haven't had a problem with
right.
it yet. But yeah, maybe when we hit like, real like, eighth, ninth, 10th grade math there when it kicks in, if the algebra and geometry and stuff really looks wonky, maybe. But for now, I haven't really had a problem with it.
So,
Got it.
thinking that I have, my background is in accounting, you'd think, yeah, Tim loves math, right? When I was, 13, 14, I hated math. And, as my oldest is being taught now, I look at it and I say, wow, if I was taught this way, I would have loved math,
Hmm.
right? Because
Really?
it's not just a perfect world textbook thought process that they're teaching these kids. It's like something that you can actually put into real world. This is what's going to happen. Like, unless I'm a tile installer, or unless, I'm doing something where I need to build a pond in my backyard, like there was a lot of things that we were taught that necessarily, should have been taught to us, or that we don't use day to day. She's learning the things that are going to be directly translated in her day to day life, and I actually see her use them. So, to actually see them implement it in real life at their age is huge. And helping her with her math homework, is a thought process that I never would have thought that basic core math to be as a young child. I had a huge issue with like long division when I first started it, and I really didn't like it. Was at second grade. And the way that they're learning it, and the way that they're learning algebra now, completely
Mm.
different thought process. So, I can definitely understand, where you're coming from there. I mean, it's just much different with that Common Core.
Well, that's cool. That's cool to hear. That you know that that you hated it, and then if you learned it this way, you probably would have liked it better. That's good to
Ugh,
know.
yeah, much better.
I mean, the thing about a lot of the curriculum is, like I said, some my kids, they're still on the young side. It's like there's not a lot of like difference where they're not biting each other, they're not fighting each other, they're not like crying every morning because they don't want to go. Like my kids are still kind of in that range where it's like, cool, we're hitting the basics. Like they're not they're not shitting themselves and then like getting a call because, well, the baby does, but the but you know what I mean, like they're just like, I'm much more concerned with their social progression at this stage in their life than any academics. Like
Yeah.
I know for a fact that my older one did not learn her multiplication tables at the same year that I learned them. I had to start learning them in second
Mhm.
grade. And the reason I know
Right.
that is because we went to a Catholic school and they used to basically drill the memory, rote memorization of it into our skulls with like the, like circling and they do the board and they'd be
Yeah,
putting in
I was
numbers
gonna
and
bring
they'd
that
have to,
up.
he knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And like, so yeah, I did know my three times tables, wrote memory when I was in second grade, but I was also like had a nervous tick that I'd be called on and have to recite them to everyone. So
Yeah.
it's like in the long run, like it didn't really help anybody.
No.
So as long as she's just like cool going to school, she loves her teacher. She loves being there. She's picking up stuff. She's got like she has to deal with a lot more like social interactions and problems like that where you get like a confrontation. Like she has to deal with actual stuff. Like that socialization I think is a lot more important than whether her math is like precisely calibrated at whatever. At least at this age, you know?
Yeah.
We got another visitor here. What's up?
We just had a conversation about that Labubu thing.
Oh my gosh. The
Yeah.
Labubu's.
Yeah. Well, what's that? Liquidity posted just the other day. Liquidity being a big, Instagram finance guy. Pokemon cards have gone up far more than Bitcoin. Going back, like
Mhm.
forget NVIDIA. What you want is Pokemon
Yeah.
cards. Pokemon cards over the last 10 years have gone up like 3,000% in value. Like if you have a And so it's like Labubus are just the most recent variation of Beanie Babies and all that shit. But Pokemon cards seems to be where it's at. So
Apparently,
I
we
trading
mean,
don't
cards
have
in
any of them.
general is a huge market.
Hmm?
Apparently, trading cards in general is a massive, massive market, and they're certain athletes when they retired, they like went into the trading card market. Like that's what they did, and a couple of them are pretty successful. And that's just it's what they liked when they were kids and in sports, and then
Hmm.
they just started trading cards and
Like
opening up shops and
they
that.
like memorabilia brokerages and stuff. Like they buy and
Yeah,
sell
but
stuff, or they
specifically for
just like
trading.
collect they're collectors themselves.
Yeah, yeah, both. I mean, they go to like trading card shows, and it's crazy. Like the market for that stuff is insane. Just cards in general, and yeah, like, you bring up Pokemon cards, like yeah, that that I mean, obviously we had some when we were kids, but you know, I guess a lot of the people who are our age now have a lot of nostalgia for it, so they're willing to pay for those things. That's part of it, but then also I guess it's just never waned in popularity.
Yeah.
Like that's the same the longevity of it. It's going on what 27, 28 years now that it's been
Something
around.
like that.
I,
Mid 90s.
I mean, I'm
You
one of
know,
those guys. I'm currently, I give myself a little bit of a budget. I'm addicted to this one app, where you can pretty much bid online for packs, right?
Mm.
So instead of me buying a box, what I can do is I can say, all right, the Mets are up, right? Or, another team is up, and I can say, okay, I'm willing to pay $13, right? And you bid. And what happens is that any player of that team that comes out of that hobby box that you bid on, you get, and they ship it to you in the mail.
Oh, that's neat.
So it's
huh.
it's a way of mitigating your risk and
Mm.
saying, "Ooh, there's one player or there's one something that I'm really looking for." And they do it with Pokemon cards, they do it with everything. So that's something that I am currently into. My baseball collection is probably 10 times bigger than when I was a kid. And that's not because of, I'm not going to say the love for the hobby, but the hobby itself has grown.
Oh
There's
yeah.
a base card, and then there's 20 different color variations of that exact same card,
Mm.
right? So, Topps or another organization will come out and say, here's, so and so's rookie card. The regular rookie card ain't worth crap. The one that there's 500 of is worth
Mhm.
a little bit, and then the one that there's a one of one or one of five of is worth, like 100. That and now GameStop is involved. They sell trading cards, they do all of the grading, etc. It's become huge where, other major organizations are now jumping in on it. your mom and your pop card shops, they waned for such a long time between like 2010 and 2020, and boom, COVID hits, and it's back at it. People needed something to do, and that was the jump start.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I spoke to a guy because one I found couple plazas. Like you go to like the main road, Oslo Development, there's like a plaza with like the grocery store and all that crap. One of the little side stores was a sports memorabilia place. It was just there, and I was like, "Oh, cool!" And I just went in one day, and I was like, just chatting with the guy, just asking whatever, and he said, when remote work hit and everyone after COVID and everyone started like getting basically making a point to make a home office for themselves, like all like men wanted like,
Oh
oh, let me
yeah.
get my like, my Derek Jeter signed like baseball thing to put on the shelf and have it in the background. And he said there was a big boom of it from that angle too, that people suddenly had to like decorate in like a peculiar way that they could like have stuff that like reflects their personality and blah 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 and like, you know,
They
I'm a
wanted to
product
look
of that.
like an analyst on a sports show.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
You gotta have like your bookshelf ready to go with like little tchotchkes and stuff. So sports memorabilia became one of those big tchotchke things. So that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's something that I guess obviously before COVID, that wasn't really something that people really had to worry about. And then, when COVID hit and we were watching all that entertainment, you were watching like say, I don't know, something on ESPN, and there were people in their home offices. It was interesting to me to see what people had in their background. Like that was something that I enjoyed. And then obviously,
Like
because if they knew
this
they
is
were
very
doing it, it was going to be
curated.
on national. Of course. Well, that's the thing. It's all very like obviously I'm not good at it. I don't care, obviously. But it was interesting to watch like I don't know if you ever watched the show Around the Horn that was on ESPN. That was
Yeah.
interesting when they had that on there and like all the different analysts because they were from different parts of the country. So all the different memorabilia that they had kind of reflected where their market was from. So like certain things that they had like somebody from Seattle would have something from different something from somebody from Denver or New York or whatever. And I found that kind of entertaining as I'm watching the show, like what people chose to have and how they placed it. Like where your eyes focusing. That's I, that's fun. I thought it was fun. That's like a niche market, I guess, a niche thing that came out of COVID that you don't really think about too much. But like so for trader dads, right? You got your picture on your upper left corner, on your upper left. I guess it would be your left, or the viewer's right. So you trading, yeah. So it'd be your left,
That one.
our
Yeah, I
viewers
know that one, that
right.
one.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, like you very specifically put that there, which is it's a good picture. And you got your book, your dad's bank, your trader's dad. Like that's very well curated, I think. That
What I say.
shelf that you have there.
What I say.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, on that.
maybe
All right. Well, yeah, it looks
maybe I'll
good.
have to
The
curate
same
something
one
for
that's
next
always
week.
been here. Yeah. But I think the natives have been getting restless around the house. I have barbarians at the gate. That was my reference for finance for the night. The one last so the, one last thing before I want everybody to see. I got official Trader Dad swag now. I got my hat. I'm all set and ready
Nice.
to go. It's looking
Perfect.
good. Finally
Should
bought
have
a
been wearing
hat.
it the whole time.
Yeah.
Should have started off.
What?
Should have started off that way.
Well, I wanted it to
So you
be
had
at
it
the
on.
end. I like to plug the stuff at the end. But we got some Trader
Something
Dad.
to work on the series.
I like it. I'm gonna start wearing it around, start showing it off. But we
Yeah,
got
good.
everything at the store is available. I got some new stuff up lately because I've had some time. Work's been running a little slow, so we got that going. Timmy, thank you for coming on. I hope you had a good time. Is there any parting words you want to leave us with about
Nope.
your philosophy of things?
No, I mean, I'm excited to see what the Fed does. I think it's going to have a ripple effect. I'm currently in the market for a home. So,
Mm.
I have a little bit of skin in the game. So, genuinely looking forward to that announcement. And it's been a pleasure. And thank you for having me on.
All right. Thomas, you got anything you want to say?
Nope.
All
No, it's great
right.
having you, Tim. Thanks for coming on.
Of course, guys, a pleasure.
All right. So everybody, we got the Substack that drops every Tuesday. Look for it on Instagram, on X. We have a YouTube channel where this drops. We're also on Spotify and the hats. Go buy a hat. All right. Thanks everybody.
Thanks,
All right.
guys.
Cool. Cool.